Do Sports Show live every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8. This week we have a 1 hour edition. 1 hour edition. Things going on that caused us to barely not be here, but I just said, man, I have to try to come in at least do an hour edition of the Do Sports Show here every Thursday from normally from 6 p.m. to 8. Thank you for tuning in. It's the Do Sports Show. We are here. We are live on WHSNDB on Hosanna Radio. Also on Facebook Live on the Do Sports Show on Facebook, and also on the Do Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and all major other platforms. Thank you for tuning in. I'm yours truly, Alvin's Deuce. You got Brother Mitch on the ones and twos. We're here, man. We're back. I wasn't here last week because I was under the weather. I wasn't well at all. I couldn't come in and do it. I really couldn't do it. I was sick. Still a little bit under the weather, but I'm gutting it out. Like I said, man, it's 2023. I'm trying to, do some changes, man. And I'm trying to be consistent. If I can remotely go, I'm going, man. Because my mindset is if you're not doing what you got to do, there's somebody else out there that's doing it and getting better, man. You know what I'm saying? If I'm not, doing what I'm doing, if I'm not grinding, there's somebody else out there grinding, man, and getting better. There's somebody else out there grinding and building. You know what I'm saying? And moving on up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I said, it's crazy because today, normally I sleep like 4 hours a day. I don't even give me 4 hours and I'm good. You know what I'm saying? And I'm out the door and I'm working, 16-hour days on a regular, stuff like that. So, yesterday was one of the days where I didn't, stay for 16 hours. I only stayed for 8 hours, and I went home, and I'm like, and then my body started to shut down. I'm like, dang, maybe I'm tired. So then I lay it down. I'm like, man, I fall asleep. I don't want to fall asleep the whole day, man. I only want to sleep for like 3-4 hours, man. I got stuff I'm trying to do because you feel what I'm saying? Like, people that's sleeping, there's people out there that's up, that's getting better. You know what I'm saying? There's people out there that's up, that's progressing, and you know what I'm saying? And then I fell asleep, and then I literally slept the whole day. I got up pissed off because my mindset was like, man, I slept the whole day. While me sleeping all day, somebody was out there grinding today, getting better, man. Somebody was out there grinding today, doing their thing and progressing. And while I was asleep. And that, that I didn't like that, man. And stuff like that. But your wife would be like, yeah, but you need your rest. You don't sleep. Hey, listen, man. Listen, man. All the people that's up there, man, successful people, man, listen, man, people, you don't sleep, man. It's time to grind. You know what I'm saying? Like, give me 4 to 5 hours and let's go, man. It's time to grind and stuff like that. So yeah, man, I'm here, man. If my mindset was like, if I didn't come today, there's somebody else that went on their show today, and they made a great show, and they, and they had, people listening, and and their show is growing and whatnot. So my mindset is like, nah, I got to come in at least for an hour and get it in, you know, for my fans, for my followers. I don't really like saying my fans, for my supporters. You know what I'm saying? But thank you for tuning in. We here, man. When I say we here, the football season is over, man. Football season is over. Kansas City Chiefs, they did it. They did it, man. And that was another reason why I wanted to come, because I didn't want, it to be so far removed, what I'm saying, the actual Super Bowl victory. I wanted to, I have my parting shots of the of the game and whatnot, and um it was a great fought game. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs on winning the Super Bowl. Andy Reid, he got his second Super Bowl, and he just needs four more. And when I say he needs four more, he needs four more so we can start having this conversation of him being a better coach than Bill Belichick. Too soon? Too soon? Is it too soon? Oh man. So now yeah, man, you know, uh Andy Reid got his second Super Bowl, and man, like that's eight. Can we name others? How many coaches can we name with two Super Bowls? I could name Tom Coughlin. That's about it with the New York Giants. And Bill Belichick. Um, Bill Belichick got six Super Bowls. Tom Brady got seven. So you know, two Super Bowls, man. Um, that's that's phenomenal. And shouts out to Andy Reid um, for getting his second um, Super Bowl. Um, and like I said, um, there's not too many. That's a different group, man. That is a different group. There's only four coaches with two Super Bowls. Joe Gibbs, if you remember Joe Gibbs, I used to remember him, watching him coach back in the days with Washington and whatnot. Bill Walsh, Chuck Noll, and Bill Belichick. Joe Gibbs, Bill Walsh, Chuck Noll, and Bill Belichick. Andy Reid has entered into that club, man. And you know, just to think 6, 7, 8 years ago he was with Philadelphia, making five straight NFC championship um games and only going winning one and making the Super Bowl and losing the Super Bowl. And people were like, he um he was one of the only coaches to make multiple conference championships without a Super Bowl win, man. But he did it, man. He did it. Now he's a two-time Super Bowl champion. Shouts out to Mahomes. Shouts out to the Philadelphia Eagles, man. The Kansas City Chiefs, defeated the Philadelphia Eagles 38-35. Um, and Patrick Mahomes was 21 of 27, 182 yards, three touchdowns. And hard fought a game back and forth. Shouts out to Philadelphia. Shouts out to Jalen Hurts, man. Jalen Hurts, he's amazing, man. Jalen Hurts had uh, uh, 304 yards passing, one touchdown, one passing touchdown. He had 15 carries for 70 yards and three rushing touchdowns, man. He was the offense. And I personally feel like this should have been the first or one. I don't know if this is the if there were any other MVPs on a losing team, but I felt like this should have been the first MVP from the losing team. Like when I was when the MVP was coming out, I wanted to know would Jalen Hurts have a chance of winning the MVP even though he lost the Super Bowl? You know, it can happen. You know, you can win the MVP without winning the game, but you know, they're never gonna really do that unless you have like a superb game. And I felt like that was a really good game, but they didn't give it to him. So yeah. So Kansas City, man, this was a great season. You know, a lot of storylines, a lot of stuff going on. A really good season, you know, and to cap it with this game, 38-35. This was a job well done. This was a great representation of the NFL when it comes to two teams um, making it to the big game. The NFL got it right, man. NFL when it comes to the playoffs and whatnot. One thing about it, when you do make the Super Bowl, it's going to be the team that the two good teams, the two best teams of each respected conference. So my parting shots with the game, me personally, I said it on multiple occasions with other people. I felt like the towards the end that that the that I felt like that it should have been a no call. That's two games in a row now with Kansas City where there was a controversial call towards the end that gave the Kansas City Chiefs the upper hand and sealing the deal when it comes to the game. James Bradbury, he admitted to tugging him, but my thing is like the only problem I have with that is that when it comes to an NFL game, um, when the game has started, right, within the first quarter, right, okay, if there's any back and forth, if the game is physical, the referee will throw flags like okay holding within the first or they'll call pass interference and stuff like that. Okay, that right there sets the tone of the game, sets um game what type of game that we're gonna have. Are we gonna have a game that's heavily officiated? Are we gonna have a game that um is that will be really tight when it comes to the technical side of like um you know are when it comes to holding after 5 yards, are the referees going to be very are the referees going to be very tight with that or will the referees let them play? We normally have establish a rhythm or establish a type of game within the first quarter. If you see you tugging within the first 5 yards and it goes within 5, 6, 7 yards and the ref don't say anything and is bumping rum and there's a lot of jockeying and whatnot beyond 5 yards and whatnot down the field, and you see the referees don't call nothing. Now that gives everybody the indication. Okay, so the referee's gonna let us play today, so we could be a little bit physical and whatnot. But if the beginning of the game you see that the referees are tight and the referees are blowing the whistle when it comes to calling holding, illegal formations, pass interference, um, you know, just ticky tack calls within the first couple of quarters. Okay, now you understand. Okay, this game is being called tight, so we got to really be more technically sound. right? We can't be as physical as we want to be because you see how the refs are calling the game see how the refs are calling the game today. So my mindset with that call towards the end is that okay, throughout the whole game there was no uh um holding within the after the 5 yards. There were no pass interference the whole game. There was no you know, how can I say it, like um, roughing the passer. There was no um other, just ticky tack calls throughout the game. And when you see that, okay, that gives the um the players the indication that okay, we are there. The refs are gonna let us play today. The refs are gonna let us jockey for position when there's a long ball. The refs are gonna let us get into it a little bit and whatnot. It's the championship game. So there's things that normally would be called, but they're gonna let us play a little bit. They're gonna let us get after it a little bit. So my mindset with that is after that tone, after that the first couple of quarters, and as a player you get to see how the referees are officiating the game. Now you adjust accordingly. So my mindset is like, okay, as a defensive back, I'm going to be a little bit more physical. As a defensive back, my hands are going to be on you a little bit more because I see how the referees are playing, are observing or calling the game. So my mindset is like, if that's the case, you stay like that throughout the whole game. But then you go from letting everybody play. Shouts out to everybody tuning in on the Facebook live show. Carlene Lewis, Rob Spaniard, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching. But my thing is like, if throughout the whole game it was established that okay, we're gonna be physical. You're not calling some ticky tacky calls and whatnot. So now we understand how the game is going to be officiated. So now we're going to play accordingly. So if that's the case, we're playing in accordance to how you're officiating. If I'm a defensive back, right? If I'm Philly. So now in the last, 3-4 minutes of the game, we already have an established rhythm. We already have an established pattern of how the game is being played based on how the referee is officiating the game. Now all of a sudden, because I have my hands on the receiver on a break, you call a holding and you pretty much switch up how you ref the game the whole game. You went from letting us play throughout the whole game to the last 3 minutes calling a ticky-tack call. That's my whole problem with the whole situation. That's my only problem with the James Bradbury situation. That is my only problem right there. Because you gave the defensive back the indication of how you're going to officiate the game. And then, towards the last 3 minutes of the game, you flip the switch and start being ticky-tacky again. So that's my only problem with that. And that's why I feel like it was a no call. That's why I felt like you should not have called that flag right there. By you calling that flag, you altered the rest of the game. You gave the Kansas City Chiefs a first down, and then you gave them the opportunity to run the clock out without Jalen Hurts getting his opportunity with 2 minutes to try to tie the game and go to overtime. Go ahead.
Okay, I got two things to say. To me, I feel like you ain't like that call, right? You said
it shouldn't have been called. That call should not have been called.
It was a call,
though. It was a call. I understand it was a call.
And second, and you said all because of that play. Do you think that's why you think the Kansas City won the game?
Yes, Philadelphia couldn't get the ball anymore. They ran the clock out.
To me, I feel like that was a good call. They should have called that, but you're right. They should have called them other. I was watching the game.
The whole game, you didn't call no holdings or no pass interference.
I saw holding.
That means that the game is established a different way where you letting them play.
Yeah, you're right.
So my thing is like if I'm a defensive back,
you gonna get hot.
Because if I'm a defensive back and I'm playing physical all game and you letting things go. You're not giving us, you're not calling anything, right? Mm-hmm. Then all of a sudden, the last 3 minutes, you call that play at the end of the game. Now you messed me up. Now I'm like, hold up. What's going on? But you wasn't calling it like that throughout the whole game. If I knew you was calling it ticky-tacky, I would not have had my hands on his head. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all I'm trying to say, is that the referees gave the players an indication of how they're going to officiate the game. And then, within the last 3 minutes, you switch up how you officiate the game. That is not fair. And that is what cost the Philadelphia Eagles. Because they could not get the ball back. They only got the ball back with 8 seconds left instead of getting the ball back with 1 minute and 40 seconds left.
Do you think they had got the ball a minute and you said 47?
1 minute and 40 seconds left.
You think they would have scored?
Jalen Hurts would have got that down there, man. He would have got that field goal, and we would have went to overtime, man. We deserve that. As fans of the game, we deserved it to go to overtime, man.
Yeah, no, I ain't gonna lie. That's what I thought it was.
I'm sorry. The referees robbed us of a wonderful finish, man. It was still a great game, but still. The referees robbed us of a wonderful finish. And that's my only problem, when it comes to that. And like I said, man, I mean, if anybody else, disagree with me, I'm sorry, but that's just how I feel about that. Like, you gave them a guideline of how, how you're going to officiate the game. And then all of a sudden, you switch up at the end and start calling ticky-tacky calls. Like, I have a problem with that. And, like I said, I'm not taking away from, the victory. All I'm saying is, man, like, that right there was was so unfortunate and a backbreaker. You know what I'm saying? A backbreaker for the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, this is another problem I have right here, man. Right? The last time I was on here, I talked about the Cincinnati Bengals. Right? I talked about the Cincinnati Bengals, and because how they lost that game at the end of the quarter and end of the fourth quarter, towards the end of the fourth quarter, with them allowing that punt return, right? That kickoff return for all those yards. And I told you guys, special teams is a very important part of the football game, of football in general. Stop focusing only on offense and defense, man. I said that. Special teams is a very important component to the game. Now, I understand we was going back and forth. Philadelphia was going back and forth with Kansas City. I understand all that. But my problem with this is, and I said this already when it comes to special teams, one of the reasons why Cincinnati Bengals lost the game is because they allowed that kickoff return, or punt return. I'm not remembering which one, if it was a punt return or a kickoff return, but it was a return that gave them wonderful field position to capitalize and to move on with a victory. That was vital to them with the victory. It's fourth quarter. Kansas City, 28. Philadelphia, 27. Right? You allow Kadarius Toney to get a punt return, not a kickoff return, a punt return for 80 yards. All the way down to the 5-yard line. And gave the Kansas City Chiefs an easy touchdown, man. Listen, I said it again, bro. Y'all keep playing with these special teams, thinking special teams, not paying attention to special teams. There we go again. Head coach going to the defensive room, going to the offensive room, but not going to the special teams room. You're not paying attention to special teams, and you allow somebody like Kadarius Toney to run down the field for 80 yards and to give the Kansas City Chiefs an easy go-ahead touchdown, man. Nothing's supposed to be that easy in the Super Bowl, man. Nothing. Nothing is supposed to be that easy in the Super Bowl. And that also is another reason why the Philadelphia Eagles lost, man. Special teams is important just as much as the offense and the defense. How many times do I have to bring this up on this show? Until you guys realize that, you're going to continually get burned from special teams, man. Like I said, I'm not taking anything away from the Kansas City Chiefs. You deserve to win. You earned the win fair and square. But man, oh man, Philadelphia, I feel like you let one get away. That caps off this 2022-2023 season for me, man, on the Do Sports Show. It was a great season. We got a champion, the Kansas City Chiefs. Moving forward, we'll be talking about the offseason, talking about the draft, talking about free agency, talking about where players are going, players are not going, and whatnot. Hirings and firings and whatnot. We're going to get into that in the summer. But yeah, that's all I got when it comes to NFL. It was a great season, man. We're going to take a quick break. And after that, we'll be right back. Yes, we're back, and better than ever. Thank you for tuning in once again every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8. Once again on Hosanna Radio, the Do Sports Show on Facebook Live, and also on the Do Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and all the major platforms. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you. Well, let's get in it, man. Let's get into it, man. NBA's in full swing, guys. And the trade deadline just passed by the other day. And we had some crazy movement the past week. And if you don't know, I'm pretty sure you know. Um, Kyrie Irving. And it's crazy because I didn't have time to really talk about this, man. And, you know, with the time that I have right here, we're going to talk about this, man. The New York the Brooklyn Nets, man. You know, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, and James Harden decided to come to Brooklyn. And I'm gonna bring this up, and I'm gonna start this way because we're gonna have closure, and I'm gonna have my parting thoughts of this situation right here. Y'all decide to come to Brooklyn. You come to Brooklyn. You want to play together. Carrie, you had the head coach that was already there, Staxton, Kenny Atkinson, sorry, very good coach. You tell ownership you don't want him to be your coach. You bring in Steve Nash. Steve Nash has no history of coaching. Nash has minimal time with the Warriors, and he becomes the head coach. A year and a half later, he gets fired. A year and a half later, James Harden is no longer with the Nets. And this coming season, Kevin Durant asked for a trade. Right? And right? So now, after that, Kevin Durant asked for a trade, and he decides to stay. After he decides to stay, Kyrie Irving starts playing, Kevin Durant starts playing, everybody's playing well. Seth Curry's playing, everybody. Kenny Claxton is playing well. The Nets become a top team in the East. Everything is going well. Now, then out of nowhere, everybody's like, you know what? I guess this Brooklyn Nets thing might turn out well after all, with KD and Kyrie Irving, right? Then, out of nowhere, Kyrie Irving asked for a trade. Now, I kid you not, bro. I could not get on air to talk about this. But one thing I will say, I was furious at Kyrie Irving. I borderline lost respect for Kyrie Irving for doing that. Because my mindset was like this. You was a top 3 team with Brooklyn and Kevin Durant. You being a top 3 team in the East, you decide to quit and ask for a trade while you're riding high, flying high, up in the standings. So my mindset is like this. I guess it's all about the money, huh? What about the love of the game? Because I put it like this. If I'm out on that court at the beach and I'm balling with Jerry, and James, and we winning game after game, we're on a 5-game, 6-game winning streak. I'm talking about we beating Billy and Key and their teams up. We beating every team that comes in front of us. Mitch team, Billy team, King team, whoever team that come up to us, me, Jerry, and James, we tapping that. Win after win, win after win. Then out of nowhere, I say, you know what? I'm sorry, y'all boys, but I'm going to Billy's team. Does that make sense? For the love of the game, the pure joy of the game, I'm gonna stay with me, Jerry, and James. Because we're winning. We're beating everybody. We having fun. We're the team of the court. King of the court. We're having fun. The joy of the game keeps me wanting to stay on that team. But for us to win game after game, the king of the court, then all of a sudden I look at Jerry dead in his eyes. I look at James dead in his eyes and say, I'm sorry, y'all boys. I'm going to Billy's team now. What? We undefeated. What you talking about? Yeah, I know. But they said they're gonna buy me food after we play, and that they said lunch is on them tonight. So you know what? It's all, at the end of the day, it's about the money, man. I'm hungry. They buying my food tonight, so I'm going to Billy's team. So now James and Jerry looking at me like, hold up. So what is it about? Is it all about just the free meal? Is that what it's all about, bro? What about the love of the game, bro? What about the camaraderie we had? What about the success we just had? Being the king of the court, winning game after game after game after game. That doesn't matter? You don't care about that? I don't get it. Hey man, listen, man. Like I said, man, I'm hungry. And dinner's on Billy tonight, man. So I'm going to Billy's team. So now when it comes to Kyrie Irving, let's bring it back. You didn't want to play during COVID. You didn't want to take the vaccine. You was only playing on road games because you didn't want to take one for the team, respectably so. You do what you want with your body, but at the end of the day, you did not want to take that vaccine. And you only played part-time games. Right? And then there were times you didn't play at all. There are times where you took a break just out of nowhere. Then you had the situation with the anti-Semitism situation. Didn't want to apologize outright at first. That put the whole organization in a situation. And then after that, you expect the Brooklyn Nets to just say, okay, we're going to give you a 4-year, $200 million deal after you just did all that. No, brother, that's not how that work. You have to earn their trust again. You played the first half of the season. You balled out. You ended up being the all-star starter. Okay, that's progress. Show the Nets that you in it for the long haul and play throughout the whole season through the playoffs and whatnot to earn the Brooklyn Nets trust again. That you're committed. So you just think one half of the season, granted you make the all-star team as an all-star starter, and now all of a sudden, oh, give me my money? No, sir. Did you just see all the stuff you just did? You still on probation with us, man. You still on rocky waters with us, man. Oh, yeah? Kyrie Irving's like, oh, yeah, that's how you doing? All right. I'm requesting a trade. I'm out of here. Whoa! You're number 3 in the East. You and Kevin Durant is finally meshing and playing well together. You finally have a coach in Jacques Vaughn that is a respectable coach with the ones and twos and that can put you guys in place, put you in success on the court, put you in position to succeed on the court. And you're just going to leave that? Why? Because they're not going to pay you your money? I want to trade, man. I'm going to, hey, listen, man, another team that trades for me, I know they're going to give me an extension. So my mind says, like, so that showed me that, Kyrie, is it really just about the money for you? Because that's what it kind of seems like, man. Like, you don't even self-reflect to see all the stuff that went on to have a reason, like, you know what? You know, I did do this, that, and the third. I kind of understand where they're coming from when, them, trying to have me earn their trust again. I kid you not, that week I was pissed off at Kyrie, man. Because I felt like you slapped Kevin Durant in the face. Kevin Durant, throughout all this, man, has been a warrior, man. Came in and day out and balled out, man. No matter what circumstance, whatever, no matter what hoopla, no matter what drama surrounded him, he just came out there and played ball. And for you to do that, I just felt like that you didn't do Kevin Durant, a solid, and just balling out this year with him. Sure enough, you requested a trade, and you got traded to the Dallas Mavericks. The Brooklyn Nets traded Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks. The Brooklyn received Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a 2027 second-round pick, a 2029 first-round pick unprotected, and also a 2029 second-round pick. Dallas received Kyrie Irving and Markieff Morris. And I was like, you know what? Okay. You got it. Now, when you go to Dallas, I want to see how you are over there, man. You a good talent. We know you can ball. But are you going to just have it only be about ball? That's all I got to say about that. Good luck to you in Dallas. Okay. Kyrie Irving goes to Dallas. He gets his wish. So now, Kevin Durant asked for a trade in the beginning of the season and didn't get one. Now Kyrie Irving has left the building. So now, does Kevin Durant ask for another trade? I mean, the second best player on the team just left, just quit on me. So now, do I look, as Kevin Durant, look like a bad guy if I come back to the Brooklyn organization and say, listen, I want to trade again? Well, this time, Brooklyn understood the situation and say, listen, man, you stayed with us, but now Kyrie Irving left, man. So now, if you want to leave, man, we can't fault you for wanting to leave this time. Right? And, ladies and gentlemen, Kevin Durant got traded to the Phoenix Suns. Right? And I kid you not, brother and sisters. I kid you not. When I seen this trade, right? One, I couldn't believe it. But two, I respect the Nets for helping Kevin Durant go there. And just, waving a white flag to the whole situation and say, you know what? We're gonna trade you, Kevin Durant. And we're gonna trade you to a good organization. We're gonna trade you to a good situation. Right? And now, the Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns for Mikal Bridges, right? Who else? One second. Let me get this right. The Suns traded Kevin Durant to the Phoenix Suns for Bridges, I'm looking for it right now. One second. Kevin. There you go. All right. After 3+ tumultuous years, a second trade request in 8 months, All-NBA forward Kevin Durant was traded from the Brooklyn Nets to the Phoenix Suns for a package that includes forward Mikal Bridges, Cam Johnson, Jay Crowder, 4 unprotected first-round picks, the team announced. Now, Kevin Durant is now teamed with Chris Paul. When I seen this trade, I felt like Phoenix Suns are an instant title contender. It gives Kevin Durant an opportunity to win another title, but this time, winning another title, not under the Warriors title, not under the Warriors umbrella, but a title that I kid you not, people will give him more of a validity, give him more credit for than they did with Golden State. Let's face it. Kevin Durant won 2 championships with Golden State, but he don't really get that much credit for it because everybody feels like he jumped on a team that was already championship contender. Now, he goes to Phoenix, and he makes that team a championship contender. Now, we're going to see how this works. And I'm happy about this trade because I'm not going to lie to you. I felt like Chris Paul was close to getting another championship a couple years ago. And I felt like the window was closed for Chris Paul when it comes to the championship. Now with Kevin Durant going to Phoenix, the door has opened right back up for Chris Paul to get a championship. And I'm happy about that. I'm ecstatic about that. Right? Now don't get it twisted. The Nets didn't end up in a bad situation either. The Nets ended up with Spencer Dinwiddie, Dorian Finney-Smith, a second-round pick from the Brooklyn Nets, a 2029 first-round pick from Dallas, another 2029 second-round pick from Dallas, and then they get Mikal Bridges from the Phoenix Suns, Cam Johnson from the Phoenix Suns, Jay Crowder from the Phoenix Suns, and 4 unprotected first-round picks from the Phoenix Suns. And guess what? The Nets are not a bad team, man. They just beat Miami last night, bro. Right? They just beat Miami last night. And Mikal Bridges, who was always under the shadow of Chris Paul and Devin Booker in Phoenix. Now that he's in Brooklyn, he has an opportunity to grow his ability and grow his opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, Mikal Bridges scored 45 last night against the Miami Heat. Cam Johnson scored 18 last night. Cam Thomas, up-and-coming star with them, scored 19 last night. Ben Simmons, man, I don't know, man. Let's move on. Seth Curry. Hey, listen, man. They still got him. Nick Claxton. Brooklyn Nets didn't turn out bad, man. They still ended up with a good team. So at the end of the day, it was a win-win for all 3 teams, man. And this is going to be a great finish. The Lakers also made some trades as well that helped them become a better team with D'Angelo Russell and whatnot. They balled out last night too. And this is going to be a wild ride for the second half of the NBA season. And this weekend is the All-Star weekend. And then after that, we'll delve right into the NBA full throttle and all the other sports that's coming up in the future, in the near future. Baseball, spring's coming up. Got golf tournaments coming up. Oh yeah, do sports show every Thursday from 6 p.m. to 8 on Facebook Live, on the Do Sports Show on Facebook, here on Hosanna Radio, and on the Do Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, and all major platforms. Thank you for tuning in. This is your boy Alvin Deuce. We'll see you next week.